Welcome to Watkins Middle School. I'm Ryan Brown, and I have the pleasure of being the principal here at Watkins Middle School. You are getting ready to watch a virtual tour of our middle school. We hope it lets you see what the building is like, how to enter and exit the building, and what our expectations are this school year. There are links within the video that you can click to the section that you want to go to. We're excited to get this school year started, and we can't wait to see you. Good luck. Go Warriors.
Watkins Middle School at entrance number 2, where our buses will align in the morning to drop students off. The buses will form a line in front of the middle school where students will be dismissed one bus at a time. Students should then enter the building at the entrance closest to their first period class. There are 2 entrances that will be utilized. The first is at the north end of the building at our gym and cafeteria entrance. The second entrance will be at the south end of the building at our main office entrance. And again, students should remember that they need to enter the building at the entrance that is closest to their first period classroom. We are now entering entrance 3 to Watkins Middle School. This is the entrance that will be used by any parent or sibling that is dropping off a WMS student in the morning. After entering entrance 3 to the campus, parents should make their way to the west side of Watkins Middle School, located at the direct back of the building. And there are 3 entrances that students are able to enter the building in the morning. We are now approaching the first entrance that students that are being dropped off in the morning will be able to enter the building, which is located in the 300 hallway next to our art classroom. The second entrance will be again located in the 300 hallway next to Mrs. Borch's science classroom. And the third entrance that will be available for students to enter the building will be at the 6th grade wing next to Mrs. Russell's classroom. Students should remember to enter the building at the door, which will be located closest to their first period class. After dropping your student off, students should progress around the high school building into the student parking lot and then leave campus at the light located at Watkins Road. We would like to remind parents as they make their way around the high school and when they're in the back of the middle school to please be very careful, as we will have a number of students and staff members that are entering the building at this time in the morning. So please be mindful of that and always be safe. We will now be walking through the dismissal procedures that will be utilized at Watkins Middle School this year for any student that will be riding the bus home in the afternoon. We have implemented a staggered release time schedule to allow for social distancing in our hallways. Any student that has a classroom located on a south wall in the building will be dismissed at 2:08. Any student that has a classroom located on an east wall in the building will be dismissed at 2:09. And any student that has a classroom located on a west wall in the building will be dismissed at 2:10. Students may stop by their lockers momentarily and then should leave the building at the closest exit. Students should walk to their buses, which will be located in the parking lot between the middle school and high school, and get on their bus immediately. At the end of the school day, students that are being picked up by parents and walkers will be dismissed at 2:08. Pickups will exit the building at the north end at the cafeteria exit, where parents will be lined up in front of Watkins Middle School facing north. We will have cones out every day for parents to pull up to where students can be picked up. We will have 2 lanes of traffic, one right beside the sidewalk and another on the other side of the drive to help alleviate the traffic at the end of the school day.
We are at the main office entrance of the building. Here you will find our main office, our clinic, and our media center. As we move down the 100 hallway, we want you to know the traffic will be moving in one direction, which will be north. Mrs. Chu. We are now going down the Courtyard Hallway, where traffic will flow west. This entrance can take students to both the 200 and 300 hallways. Miss Kane. Miss Rizzo. Mr. Westbrook. Mr. Phillips and Miss Deem. Mrs. Sayer. Miss Santa, Mrs. DeCarellis, Mrs. Parker, and Miss Wally.
And then at the end of the 100 hallway is our gymnasium with Mr. Smith and Mr. Domer.
Traffic will then continue to flow west down the back hallway of the building. This is the back entrance to our gymnasium. Mr. Jellison's classroom. Choir. And our band classroom will be down this hallway. We are now at the end of the 300 hallway. Traffic in this hallway will be moving south. Mrs. Betts, art classroom. Mr. Lawrence, digital art. Miss Kale. Mrs. Redfern. Mrs. Plant. Mr. Walter. And Mrs. Borch. After traveling south down the 300 hallway, students will then travel east down the office hallway.
In order to maintain a one-way traffic pattern and to ensure social distancing, any student that has a class in another area of the building and needs to return to the 6th grade wing will exit the middle school through the 300 hallway exit next to Mrs. Borch's classroom and re-enter the building beside Mrs. Russell and Mrs. Rose's classroom. This should be a very momentary period of time that the students are outside of the building. We feel that this will be necessary to ensure one-way traffic pattern and to keep our students as safe as possible.
We are now in the 400 wing. This will be one-way traffic as well. This hallway, students will be moving west. Ms. Parental. Mrs. Stallnaker. Mrs. Hayes. Mrs. Liska. Students will then travel south. Mrs. White's classroom, Mrs. Rose's classroom, and Mrs. Russell's classroom. Students will then travel east in the 400 wing. Mr. Beam, Mr. Lejeune, Mr. Havlis, Mr. Smale, Mrs. Stoffel, and Ms. Boserman. Students will then travel north. Ms. Hatcher and Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Graves. We are starting in the 200 hallway near the South Cafeteria. The 200 hallway will have traffic moving in one direction, which is north. Mrs. Kimbler's classroom. Mrs. Saltzback's classroom. Mrs. Conaway. Mrs. Boer. Mr. Schoen. Ms. Shoup. Mr. McFerrin. Mrs. Bentley. Mr. Oyster. Mr. T. Smith. Mr. Kottner. Mrs. Dickerman and Ms. Spindler.
We are now entering Cafeteria North, where a little over half of our student body will eat lunch every day. As students enter the cafeteria for their lunch period, they should come in, sit down. If they pack their lunch, they are allowed to begin eating right away. If they're buying their lunch, they will come in, sit down, and their table will be dismissed by one of the staff members that has lunch duty. Students will enter one of two entrances to get their lunch. We have an entrance right here on the right-hand side that they can enter. And then we also have hallway access to go to the cook's area on the left-hand side. And this helps us to get all of the students through in a very timely manner, and also allows them time to go outside for their lunch period. So students will go in one of those two entrances, and then all of the students will exit this middle doorway, where we usually have condiments and silverware for them as well. Once students have ate their lunch, we have a poster that sits right here next to our TV with information, and it will tell students based upon the weather for the day if we will be having inside recess, outside recess, or outside recess with blacktop only. And again, that is predicated by the weather that we are having. We are now entering the Watkins Middle School Gymnasium. This is where our girls volleyball team, our boys and girls basketball teams, and our cheerleading squads perform and compete each year. This is also where we'll have parental meetings, pep rallies, and assemblies. This is also the location of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade physical education classes. 6th graders are not required to change for physical education. 7th and 8th grade students are asked to change. We have a female and male locker room area for that. Students should, if they have physical education, plan on bringing a lock so they can keep all of their materials safe. This is our female locker room area, and our male locker room area is located in the opposite corner.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed our virtual tour. We can't wait to see you this coming week as we start our school year off, and we'll have plenty of time for you to get to know the building when we see only half of the students on Thursday, A through K, and the other half of the students on Friday, M through Z. Good luck. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Thursday and Friday, and go Warriors.